Alrighty, Lumberjacks, welcome back. And today we're going to be looking at the 7.0 patch update. So this is a full-blown update. So it's not just a single release or anything weird like that. I tried that, and we'll see if that happens again. But anyway, so moving on. First things we're going to look at, we got two new toys. So we have the Caterpillar 551. Amazing machine. We actually started at, we were going to do the 552, but I had a few people email me and convince me the 551 was better and more popular, so we went with the 551. Now that is very up for controversy on the popularity, but you know what? It's what the Patreons and some of the YouTube people wanted, and I think it turned out great, so I think people will like it. So yeah, this is the 551 classic Caterpillar machine. Beautiful. Now, one thing I did differently on this model, on the front, I actually took the bars off of the front. So normally this thing has these huge bars and a grill across the front. But if anybody's played with this thing previously, I'm sure you've seen that the bars on the front are just brutal, especially for visibility. I left the bars on the sides, but not on the front. So as you get in, like I said, it gives you a nice kind of open window. Again, the bars are really thick on this bad boy. Same with the window sides, but honestly, having that open front of the cab makes a huge difference for operating in general. It just gives you a better view and makes it so when you're bunching and doing stuff, it's not so brutal. Because in the last one, it was like literally looking through prison bars trying to operate. So yeah, the 551. This is not a tilter. This is a ground level one. Now, that's not to say we might have a version of the 551 come out in a tilter format. I'm still looking at maybe doing that, but no promises. For now, we just wanted the ground-based one. It's much easier for bunching with this guy, too, because you're right on the level with the trees. So, yeah, anyway, you guys are going to have fun with that. Fun times. Oops, as we go into the console. Next up, the other toy we got is the new... Let's see our operation of insanity up here. The Clark forwarder. So this is the Clark 880, the same one that we use for the line winch skidder, but now it is in the form of a forwarder. This is something I hinted at Patreons early on. They were quite excited about it. Got lots of emails and lots of good feedback about this guy. So yeah, basically, it's not a crane forwarder. There's no arm. There's no extra stuff. It is strictly just a base forwarder. Yeah, for moving stuff from high sites. So I'm using this map as an example. If you're watching my FDR Logging series, we're using this on this series, which is what this map is currently being used for right now. So like I said, I'm processing at these higher decks way up high here and leaving these kind of nasty piles, loading up this Clark forwarder, and we're bringing it downhill to a more flatter area. This is it makes it super easy to move decks around, especially if you're doing short logs or even medium length you can get on there. But yeah, like I said, if you're in a crappy spot and you don't want to skid it out, or you can't skid it out, this works great. So you can park your processor up in a weird spot, kind of like I have the one back there. Knock down these trees kind of where they are, process them even on these weird inclines with the sharp hills, and then you can use that Clark to go drag them out. Pretty exciting. So yeah, two new toys for you guys. I think you'll like those. Clark 880 and the Caterpillar 551. All right, so now we're going to go into the patch notes, of which there are many. Well, they're not crazy amount, but lots of explanations to do. So one big change in this update is control stuff. If you're already a joystick user or whatever, it's not going to affect you, but for people that make people that use Xbox controllers or want to use mouse and keyboard. Okay, so I have an entirely separate video coming out about the controls. It'll probably be tomorrow or the next day or something. So it'll be a completely different control update video entirely. So I want you guys to just ignore the controls part. Basically what I've done is I've made it so that the default controls in the game are loadable. So for instance, if I go settings, I go controls. If I scroll all the way down to the FDR logging mods, so the FDR input bindings currently has nothing on it. Like, it doesn't auto-populate stuff. So mouse and keyboard are not auto-populated. Same if you have an Xbox controller plugged in, it doesn't auto-populate. So now what it does, after you install this 7.0 update, if you hit reset all, it'll reset all your bindings, but it'll automatically fill in the key bindings for keyboard and mouse, as well as an Xbox controller if you have one plugged in, to match exactly the same as this stuff, like for the vehicle stuff, like the crane controls, all of this. So if you're a new person coming into the game, it'll automatically set it to match the in-game controls. I still highly recommend that you go do your own thing. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about this because I have a whole video separately coming out, like I said, either tomorrow or the next day, or I don't know, you'll see. You'll know when it comes out. So control update, that's a really big one. And yeah, I'll go into that in the other video. I'm not even going to touch it. Okay, moving on. All track machines. So everything that has tracks attached to it. So all of these machines have gotten a little bit of a balance change, and they have a tiny bit of weight, like a weight increase. Not much, like not a lot. You're not going to, most people probably won't notice the difference. The biggest issue we had was with feller bunchers. People complaining about feller bunchers being way too tippy. And yeah, yes and no. It depends on what you're doing. Some of the videos people sent me, no offense to those people, but some of them were doing some kind of silly stuff. So, for instance, we are on a pretty sharp incline. So this is pretty fair. I mean, fairly sharp for what we're doing in this video. So if you're grabbing a single small tree and you're throwing off to the side of your cab, you're not going to get a whole lot of tip like you used to. You get a little bit of a rock kind of feel. Oops. You'll get a little bit of a rock. You can see it's kind of rocking a bit. In the previous update, it was really tippy. Like it would fall over with just a head and a small tree. Now, if you're going to go start grabbing bigger trees, like this guy's a little bit bigger. I don't know if that's going to be too crazy. Like you're going to feel it, but you're not going to tip. On the sides, you might tip if you go really far out, but even at this distance, like you just get a little bit of tip before it would just like topple you over instantaneously. But again, it's also about how you control. It's about how you control your machine, right? If you're just like, it doesn't matter what weight I make this machine, if you're just gonna flip it around like a moron, you're gonna fall over. So facing downhill, I'm gonna turn my tracks so we're facing downhill. It's gonna be more tippy this way. Actually, this one's pretty good. But if you start operating really crazy and flipping the head, then you can make it tip. That's just reality, right? But if you're operating a little bit more chill, just keep it close to your machine and go slow. You're not going to tip it over. But anyway, regardless of that, I did increase the weights just a little teeny bit on all of the track machines for people that are loading or bunching or doing whatever you're doing. So here you go, 2 really big trees. So again, you can really feel that weight on there as you turn. If I'm pointing downhill, I mean, the fact it's even sitting there is pretty good, but I mean, technically you should be able to just fall right on your keister there. So I mean, you'll notice that it just feels a little bit more stable, a little bit more balanced. Same if you're using the loader. We'll get to the loader here in a minute, but same if you're using the loader or any of the other ones here. Just a little bit more stability. It's gonna be good. All processors. So all the processor heads now, when you spawn them, so when you go to load them or from the purchase menu, they will all start with everything open on them because they didn't used to, and they'll all start in a down position like this. This is for Xbox controller users and keyboard people to fix their complaints. So originally when you bought these, they were all in this upright position, and I think these claws were open, but these claws, or the rollers, were closed. So now if you're on an Xbox controller or a keyboard, you have to find a special mapping control just to get it to lower that and to open those rollers. So a lot of people that use Xbox controllers or keyboard don't want that. So now when you buy the head, it is going to be down automatically, so you don't have to raise it or lower it, which is really hard to do with Xbox controllers due to the lack of controls. And that secondary set of rollers is going to be open. So when you get it, it's going to be like basically ready to go in a downward facing position. So you still control these with regular open grabber controls, but if you want to start processing, you don't necessarily need to have control of your rollers. Like you can just grab a log, bring it into your cutter and cut it. You don't even have to use those rollers. You don't have to open them or close them if you don't feel like you want to. But they are there for the people who want to do the more advanced stuff. Like I said, if you want to grab it to roll it ahead, well, that's how you do it with advanced. But if you can't, you just got to make sure you're always grabbing it from a position where you don't need to use these secondary grabbers, right? Which makes it a little bit trickier, but you can just bite it, grab it, do your thing. Okay, cool. Anyway, so that's another little update. All maps. So on all the maps, the trees, and a little bit of the physics with the trees have been changed. Angular dampening and friction. So the trees are like a hair heavier, not much. Like you guys won't even notice a difference probably. But a hair heavier. And I also played with just the dampening and the way that the physics work a little bit so that they settle a little bit better in piles. They still creep a bit, but like as you can see, I'm sitting right next to them and they're not really moving. Before, you know how they were like really violently dancing? Well, I found adding a teeny bit more dampening and a little bit more weight, not much, like just a hair bit more weight, was able to make them settle. Because as you can see, they're not really sliding away too violently. They actually look like they're almost completely still, which is kind of creepy. Whoops. I was trying to crouch. There we go. You can see that they still jump up and down a little bit, like they're kind of bouncing. But they're not sliding as violently, which is kind of cool. Same with the friction on the trees. So the trees' friction's a little bit higher, so they won't slide off of each other as much as they did before. Again, I can't make it perfect. See, they kind of slip around a little bit in this pile. Depends on where the weight is and how well they're lined up. But for the most part, they're just a lot more chill than they used to be. Same with the friction on them. So the friction on the grapples, the friction on the trees, that's all changed. You should find it a little bit easier to pick up logs in bundles and hold them. They don't slide around as much as they used to. They're still going to slide around a bit, but not as much as they used to. You can dump them and they settle a lot better. Again, this is like micro changes at this point, but I find overall, like loading and doing stuff, it feels a lot better. But like I got down to like literally find 0.001s of a minute change to try to get a balance. And it feels better. Again, same difference. All the claws have been changed so that you should be able to scoop up the logs a little bit better. Again, the frictions are a bit higher on them, but they still pencil okay. Like even if you're doing under the boom or over the boom. And they stay in the grapple a lot smoother, even under pressure. They don't seem to slide as bad as they used to. And they still settle in the bunks nice, as you can see when I'm loading. Settle well in the bunk. They don't do anything too crazy. Although, you know, this is this game, so you're going to find stuff that even I can't discover, I'm sure. But again, see, they pencil nice, they grip nice, and they stay together when you're moving them. They don't fall out of sorts as much. I'm not going to say they don't at all, but not as much. And again, see how they're settling on the trailer quite nice. You can still flick them around. And it was a really hard balance finding a good dampening, a good friction, and good weight so that they settle nicely still while playing friendly in the grapple. It's like a dance. It's kind of like a physics dance, you know? Crazy stuff, right? Okay, I'm going to go one more grapple just because I feel the need to. But, you know, that's just me being OCD with my grabs here. But as you see, like I said, pencil's nice. And again, I can get that arm out a lot further without the machine tipping. It's still, like, we're obviously facing tracks forward, which is helpful. If I swing this off to the side and try that, it'll probably want to tip. But I mean, I can go all the way out there, and it's just thinking about tipping, right? Like just a little bit, which might not be 100% realistic in real life. You might have a little bit more of a challenge with that. But we'll give that to some people who really wanted it, especially people with non-joystick users. Whoops! Oh my goodness. Depth perception is not my specialty in this game. Okay. All right, we don't actually have to load this, but, you know, just being obsessive here. But yeah, like I said, the trees settle nice. Everything settles good. Better than last update for sure. Okay, next. All machines, remove the blinker sound effect. Okay, this was an Xbox controller user. A lot of this is towards Xbox people and keyboard users because I had a lot of error complaints and bug reports about that stuff. So before... if you set your controls on your Xbox controller and you want to use the D-pad, I guess every time you hit the D-pad, you'd hear a blinker sound out of these things going click, 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 click. I can't even demonstrate it here on this thing. But anyway, that is now removed. So anybody using an Xbox controller that was complaining about that, you will no longer hear the blinker sound effect like as if your blinker's on in your machine because these things don't have blinkers. So it's gone anyways. So you won't have that. So I hope that solves that issue. All skidder, suspension, and brake adjustments. So I can show you that on the Clark. So the Clark Forwarder has about the same suspension or really close to our skidders. So you'll find that when you're going down a hill, it'll brake a lot easier. So if I'm going straight down, if I take my foot off the gas, it doesn't dead stop, but it stops a lot easier. A big complaint we had was people with a fully loaded skidder load going down a hill, it wouldn't stop, it would just keep going. So now you can like pretty well dead stop it if you use the brake, which will make it a lot easier for you while you're trekking around. It won't roll away on you as much because some of the skidders were trying to like, the front tire would just start rolling and it would just go down the hill. So that's solved now. Oh, okay, this is a big one. Big one. Okay, so I forgot about it because I've been using these for a long time. So on all of these track machines, every single machine, not even just track, but anything that has a boom and a stick, you're gonna feel, it's gonna feel different. So the lift of the boom, the stick movement, is going to feel different. And it's what it's going to feel like is it's going to feel a little heavier. It's going to feel slower almost, but it's going to feel hydraulic. So like as I pull, it's a slow to a faster acceleration, very similar to real life equipment. Because I was running a machine like this recently a few weeks ago, and I got home and I was playing with the real or the in-game one, and I was like, man, this thing, it was just way too sensitive. So like if I shake my controls back and forth, you see how it's making little subtle movements? Well, before, because the sensitivity was really high, it would just like, it would like whip around way too quick. So your turn is going to feel slower. It's got a little bit more drag. When I stop, the swing brake slows down a bit. So like as I stop, that's off. So I'm putting full to the left, and then I stop, release. It takes a minute to slow down. In real life, the swing brakes are a little slow on some of them, depending on how new your machine is and what kind of machine. But it just gives a little bit better momentum. You'll also notice that momentum is way better for the physics. Not whipping around really fast will make your machine or your physics and your logs feel a lot better. So it comes to a nice slow stop like that. Your logs aren't going to jerk around as crazy. If you have it so it like insta stops, basically what will happen is these logs just kind of like fire off. So it kind of gives you this nice kind of slow feeling. But anyway, it might feel weird to some people, especially if you're bunching. It might be a little bit different. But the bunchers, smaller machines have a little bit faster than the high cabs. Yeah. So what else? B-train, fixed, missing, post collisions. Oh, we talked about that in one of my FDR logging videos. The B-train, which is this one here. I don't have the pup. I left it down the hill with a load of logs on it. But so when you're loading up the B train, that little trailer that hangs off the back, and you want to put it on top of the deck, like on top, I've added a collision on this piece, and I've added a collision on this piece. So then your tires will actually sit properly on the nub when you put it on there. Before, there was no collision there because I forgot to add it. And you went to put your trailer on, and it would just fall to the ground because there was no collision here. So that's fixed now. You can put the trailer wherever feels right to you. The other thing I fixed on this was this piece, the main part of the trailer was getting dirt texture on it, while the rest of it wasn't. So that's been removed, and the dirt texture was really god-awful because it was just like a brick of brown, and it was just really bad. So it still shows up on the tires, but it's off of the main frame of the machine. So that's clean and better. Clark skidder, I fixed a bunch of body collisions. So even on this one, some of the body collisions were hanging like really low, and I'd never noticed that before. So the actual physical collision is now closer to the machine itself. Before it was like a foot down, so it was hanging up on stumps and doing some other weird stuff. Perfect. Okay, so that's everything in this update. Again, I have a control video coming out for Xbox controller and keyboard users in a couple days here. So just hang tight and wait for that. That will solve a lot of people's issues that they've been complaining about. If not, I hope you guys enjoyed the update. If you find anything crazy that I missed or that you notice, just leave a comment, make a bug report, do your thing. It'll be good. But if not, I hope you guys enjoy the 7.0 update and look forward to the next one. All right, now, guys, we'll catch you in the next one. See ya.